Good day, everyone. It's me again, Aquino, and this time we will be talking about the rules of softball from Rule 1 to Rule 4. Let's get started. Rule 1 is the definitions. Section 1. Altered bat. When we say altered bat, the physical structure of a legal bat has been changed. Example of altering a bat are replacing the handle of a metal bat with a wooden or other type of handle, inserting material inside the bat, applying excessive tape more than 2 layers to the bat grip, or painting a bat at the top or bottom for other than identification purposes. Replacing the grip with another legal grip is not considered altering the bat. A flare or cone grip attached to the bat is considered an altered bat. Engraved ID marking on the knob and only of a metal but is not considered an altered bat. Engraved ID marking on the barrel end of a metal bat is considered an altered bat. Laser marking for ID purposes anywhere on the bat is not considered an altered bat. Next is Section 2. Is the appeal play. When we say appeal play, a live or dead ball appeal is a play or situation on which an umpire cannot make a decision or unless requested by a manager, coach, player of the non-offending team. Note, a coach or manager may only make a dead ball after stepping onto the playing field. If made the fielder must be in the infield when making the appeal. The appeal may not be made after any one of the following has occurred. First is a legal pitch has been thrown or an illegal pitch has been called exception, or an appeal for the use of an illegal substitute, illegal re-entry, a replacement player or withdrawn player, either leaving or returning to the lineup under the replacement player rule, and not reporting to the umpire can be made anytime while such player is still in the game. Number 2 is an appeal for runners switching positions on the bases they occupied may be made at any time until such runners are in dugout or half inning is over. Next is when the pitcher and all defensive players have left fair territory or the umpires have left the field of play following the last play of the game. These are the types of appeals: the missing a base, leaving a base on a caught fly ball before the ball is first touched, batting out of order, attempting to advance to second base after making a turn at first base, illegal substitutions, the use of unannounced players under the replacement player rule 1, and illegal re-entry, the use of unannounced players under the designated player rule. Then lastly is when the runners switching positions on the bases they occupied. Then Section 3, ball compression. When we say ball compression, it is the load force in kilograms or pounds required to compress a softball in 6.5 mm or 25 inches when measured in accordance with the ASTM or American Society for Testing and Materials test method for measuring compression displacement of softballs. And next is the Section 4, is the ball core, or the coefficient of restitution of a softball when measured with the ASTM or American Society for Testing and Materials test method for measuring the coefficient of restitution of softballs. And section 5 is the baseline. Baseline, it is a direct line between bases. Next is section 6 is based on balls. When we say based on balls, it is of course when 4 pitches are judged by the plate umpire to be balls, including illegal pitches. The batter is awarded first base. This is sometimes referred to as a walk. And if the ball is alive, the ball is dead. Next is section 7 is the base path. When we say base path, it is a direct line between that hits the bat or it is hit by the bat and lands either in fair or foul territory. No intention to hit the ball is necessary. Section 9 is the batter. When we say batter, it is an offensive player who enters the batter's box with the intention of aiding his team to score runs. He continues to be batter until he is either declared out by the umpire or he becomes a batter runner. Next is the section 10, is the batter's box. When we say the batter's box, is the area to which the batter is restricted while in position with the intention of helping his team to obtain runs. The lines are considered as being within the batter's box. Next is section 11, batter runner. When we say the batter runner is a player who has finished a turn at bat but has not yet been put out or touch first base. Next is section 12, batting order. When we say batting order, is the official listing of offensive players in the order in which members of that team must come to bat. When the lineup card is submitted, it shall also include each player's position. Next is section 13, is the black ball. Black ball is a batted, thrown or pitched ball that becomes lodged in the fencing or is touched, stepped, or handled by a person not engaged in the game or touches any object that is not part of the official equipment or playing area, or it is touched by a defensive player who is in contact with the ground that is not part of the playing area. The thrown ball touching a base coach accidentally in or out of the coach's box is not black. Next is section 14, is the bunt or when we say bunt, it is a batted ball not swung at but unintentionally met with the bat and top slowly within the playing field. The next is section 15, is the catch. When we say catch, it is a legally caught ball which occurs when the fielder catches a batted or thrown ball with his hands or glove. In establishing a valid catch, the fielder shall hold the ball long enough to prove the ball is securely held and or that release of the ball is voluntary and intentional. If the player drops the ball after reaching into the glove to remove it or while in the act of throwing, it is a valid catch. If the ball is merely held in the fielder's arms or prevented from dropping to the ground by some part of the fielder's body, equipment, or clothing, the catch is not completed until the ball is in the grasp of the fielder's hands or glove. The fielder's feet must be within the field or play. touching the out of play line or being in the air after leaving leave ball territory in order to have valid catch. If the player has control of the ball when returning to the ground in the out of play area, it is a valid catch. A player who is in out of play area and returns to the leave ball territory must have both feet touching in the playable area prior to touching the ball in order to have valid catch. It is not a catch if a fielder, while gaining control, collides with another player, umpire or fence, or falls to the ground and drops the ball as a result of the collision or falling to the ground. And a batted ball striking anything other than defensive player while it is in flight is ruled the same as it struck the ground. Next is section 16. Catcher's box. When we say catcher's box, it is that area within which the catcher must remain until the pitch is released. The lines are to be considered within the catcher's box. Next is the pitch ball is batted, touches the ground plate or batter or reaches the catcher's box. The lines are to be considered within the catcher's box. The catcher is considered within the box except when touching the ground outside the catcher's box. Section 17 is the charge conference. When we say charge conference, it takes place when the offensive team requests a suspension of play or delays play to allow the manager or other team representative to confer with any member of their team. Next is when the defensive team requests a suspension of play to allow a representative of the defensive team to enter the playing field to communicate with any defensive player or a fielder, leaves his position and goes to the dugout and gives the umpire reason to believe that he received instruction. Note to section 17 B. It is not charge conference if the coach or manager notifies the plate umpire of a change of pitches either before the communicating with the pitcher. Next is the section 18 is the chop ball. When we say chop ball, it is a hit ball, is one at which the batter strikes downward with a chopping motion of bat so that the ball bounces high into the air. Section 19 is the coach. A coach is a person who is responsible for the team's actions on the field, and he represents the team in communications with the umpire in the opposing team. A player may be designated as a coach in the event the coach is absent or the player is playing coach. For the purpose of these rules, the manager of a team is considered to be head coach. And section 20 is the crow hop. A crow hop, when we say crow hop, it is defined as the act of a pitcher who does not push off from the pitcher's plate to deliver the ball. This is an illegal act if the pitcher steps off the pitcher's plate, thereby establishing a second impetus or starting point, and then pushes off the new starting point and completes the delivery. And section 21 is a dead ball. When we say dead ball, it is one that touches any object that is one part of the official equipment or official playing area, or a player or person not engaged in the game, or lodges in the umpire's gear or in an offensive player's clothing, or the umpire has ruled dead. Section 22 is a defensive team. When we say defensive team, it is a team in the field. Section 23 is the delayed dead ball. When you say delayed dead ball, is a game situation in which the ball remains alive until the conclusion of a play when the entire play is completed. If required, the umpire shall rule a dead ball and enforce the appropriate ruling. Refer to Rule 9, Section 3. Next is the Section 24 is a designated player. When we say designated player, it is a starting offensive player who bats in the lineup for the flex player listed in the 10th position on the lineup card. Section 25 is the dislodge base. Dislodge base is a base displaced from its proper position. And Section 26 is a double play. When we say double play, it is a play by the defense in which two offensive players are legally put out as a result of continuous action. Next is Section 27 is a dugout. The dugout is an area in the dead ball territory designated for players, coaches, bat boys or girls, and official representatives of team only. There shall be no smoking in this area. Section 28 is ejection from the game. When we say ejection, is the act of umpire ordering a player or official or any team member to leave the game and the grounds for a rule violation for the remainder of the game. Next is the Section 29, fair ball. When we say fair ball, it is a legally batted ball which settles or is touched on or over fair territory between home and first base or between home and third base. Bounce past first or third base on or over fair territory regardless of where the ball hits after going over the base, and touches first, second, or third base, while on over fair territory touches the person or clothing of an umpire or player, while first falls on fair territory beyond first and third base, while over fair territory passes out the playing field beyond the outfield fence, and while in flight hits the foul line pole. Note that a fair fly shall be judged according to the relative position of the ball in the foul line, including the foul pole in it, as to whether the fielder is on fair or foul territory at the time of touching the ball. It does not matter whether the ball first touches fair or foul territory, as long as it does not touch anything foreign to the natural ground in foul territory and complies with all other aspects of a fair ball. And the position of the ball at the time of interference determines whether the ball is fair or foul, regardless if the ball rolls untouched to foul or fair territory. Next is the Section 30, is the fair territory. When we say fair territory, it is a part of the playing field within, including the first and the third base foul lines, from home base to the bottom of the extreme playing field fence and perpendicularly upwards. And Section 13 is a fake tag. A fake tag, when we say fake tag, it is a form of obstruction on a runner while advancing or returning to a base by a fielder who is not position of the ball that impedes the progress of the runner. The runner does not have to stop or slide. Merely slowing down when a fake tag is stimulated would constitute obstruction. Section 32 is the fielder. When we say fielder, it is any fielder. It is any defensive player rather of the team on the field. Next is the section 33 is the fly ball. A fly ball is any ball batted into the air. Section 34 is the flex player. When we say flex player, it is a starting player for whom the designated player is batting and whose name appears in the 10th position on the lineup card. And next is section 35 is the force out. A force out is an out which can be made only when a runner loses to the right to the base which he is occupying because the batter runner, and before the batter runner or a succeeding runner has been put out. On an appeal play, the force out is determined by the force situation at the time appeal is made, not at the time of the infraction, or just for example, if the force has been broken by an out of succeeding runner prior to the appeal, then this is no longer a force out. Next is section 36 is a forfeit. Forfeit is an act of the plate umpire ruling that the game is over by declaring the non-offending team the winner. Next is the section 37. Foul ball. When we say foul ball, it is legally batted ball which settles on foul territory between home and first base or between home and third base. Bounce pass first or third on over foul territory. First touches on foul territory began first and third base, while on or over foul territory touches the person, attach or detach equipment or clothing of an umpire or player, or any object foreign to the natural ground, touches the batter or the bat in the batter's hands a second time while the batter is within the batter's box, goes directly from the bat, not higher than the batter's head, to any part of the catcher's body or equipment and caught by another fielder, hits the pitcher's plate and rolls untouched to foul territory before reaching first or third base. Note that foul play shall be judged according to the relative positions of the ball of the foul line, including the foul pole, and it's not whether the fielder is on fair or foul territory at the time of touching the ball. Then the position of the ball at the time of the interference determines whether the ball is fair or foul, regardless the ball rolls untouched to foul or fair territory. Next is the section 38. It's the foul territory. When we say foul territory, it is any part of the playing field that is not included in fair territory. Section 39 is a foul tip. A foul tip is a batted ball which goes directly from the bat to the catcher's hands and goes not higher than the other's heads and is illegally caught by the catcher. Note that it is not foul tip unless caught, and any foul tip that is caught it is strike. In fast pitch, the ball is in play. In slow pitch, the ball is dead. It is not a catch if it is a rebound unless the ball first touched the catcher's hands or glove. Section 40. Helmet. When we say helmet is must have 2 air fluffs or no one on each side, and shall be the type that has safety features equal to or greater than those provided by the full plastic cup with padding on the inside. A liner covering the ears only does not meet the rule specifications, and worn by a catcher may maybe the skull type without the air flops. Worn by a defensive player does not need air flops. That is cracked, broken, dented, or altered shall be declared an illegal helmet and removed from the game. Section 41. Home team. The home team is a team on those grounds the same is played, or if the game is played on neutral ground, the home team shall be designated by mutual agreement or by a flip of a coin, and the home team shall take the third base, dug out, and play defense first. Next, Section 42 is illegal bet. An illegal bet is one that does not meet the requirements of Rule 3, Section 1, and Section 43 is Section 42 is illegal bet. It is one that does not meet the requirements of Rule 3, Section 1. And Section 43 is illegal extra player. And when we say illegal extra player, it is one who violates any of the provisions of Rule 4, Section 6. Next, Section 44, illegal pitcher. When we say illegal pitcher, it is a player legally in the game, but one who may not pitch as a result of being removed from the pitching position by the umpire, as a result of the defensive charge, conference limit being exceeded, or being removed from the pitching position by the umpire as a result of pitching with excessive speed after a warning. Section 45. Illegal player. When we say illegal player, it is a player who takes a position in a lineup either on offense or defense who has not reported to plate umpire. Next, when a player who takes a position on offense or defense who does not have a legal right to that position. Next, Section 46. Illegal re-entry. An illegal re-entry occurs when a starting player returns to the game a second time after twice being substituted. A starting player returns to the game after being substituted but not in his original position in the offensive lineup. A substitute who has legally been in the game returns to the game after being substituted for by either original starting player or another substitute. And lastly is when the starting or his substitute is placed into the batting order in a position other than his original starting position. And next is a flex player who is placed in the batting order in a position other than that of the starting. Next is Section 47. Is illegal substitute. When we say illegal substitute is when the player who has entered the game without being announced to the umpire. He may be a substitute who has not previously been in the game, an illegal player, a declared ineligible rather, an illegal re-entry, or an illegal flex player, or yes. Section 47 is the illegal substitute. When we say illegal substitute, is a player who has entered the game without being announced to the umpire. He may be a substitute who has not previously been in the game, an illegal player, a declared ineligible player, an illegal re-entry or a replacement, a player who remains in the game as an unannounced substitute for a withdrawn player who has not returned to the game within the time permitted under the provisions of the replacement player rule. Section 48 is illegally batted ball. When we say illegally batted ball, it is of course when the batter hits the ball fair or foul, while while his entire foot is completely out of the batter's backs on the ground when he makes contact with the ball. While any part of the batter's foot is touching home plate, when he makes contact with the ball, while contacting with the ball with an illegal, non-approved, or altered bat, after he steps with either foot entirely out of the batter's box and then returns and makes contact with the ball while within the batter's box. Next is section 49 is illegally caught ball. When we say illegally caught ball, it is of course when a fielder catches a batted, thrown, or pitched ball with his cap, mask, glove, or any part of his uniform while it is detached from its proper place. Section 50, ineligible player. When we say ineligible player, it's a player who may no longer legally participate in the game because the umpire has removed him. An eligible player has no longer participate as a player but may continue in the game as a coach. Section 51, ineligible replacement player. It is a player who may not enter the game to replace a player who must leave the game to attend to an injury that has caused bleeding. An eligible replacement player is one who has been removed from the game by the umpire for violation of the rules or is in the current lineup. It is not in the current lineup but eligible to enter the game. Section 52, in flight. When we say in flight, it describes any batted, thrown, or pitch ball that has not yet touched the ground or some object other than a fielder. Next, section 53, in jeopardy. When we say jeopardy, it is a term indicating that the ball is in play and an offensive player may be put out. Next, section 54, infield. When we say infield, it is the portion of the field in the fair territory that includes areas normally covered by infielders. Section 55, the infielder. When we say infielder, it is the defensive player, including the pitcher and catcher, who is generally positioned anywhere near or within the lines of the base paths forming fair territory. A player who normally plays in the outfield may be considered an infielder if he moves into the area normally covered by infielders. Section 56, infield fly. When we say infield fly, it is caught by an infielder with ordinary effort when first, second, and third bases are occupied before two are out. The pitcher, catcher, and any of the outfielder that positions himself in the infield in the play shall be considered infielders for the purpose of this rule. Section 57 is the inning. When we say inning, it is a portion of a game within which teams alternate on offense and defense, and in which there are 3 outs of each team. A new inning begins immediately after the final of the previous inning. Section 58, intentional base on balls. It is of course when the defensive team desires to place better to place the batter on first base without the requirement to deliver 4 pitch balls. This is referred to as an intentional walk. The intentional walk, then the ball is dead. Section 59. Intentionally drop fly ball. When we say intentionally drop by ball, it is a fair fly ball including a line drive or a bunt with less than 2 outs in a runner on first base, which can be caught by an infielder with ordinary effort. An infielder intentionally drops and is controlled with a hand or glove. A trap ball or a fly ball allowed a bounce shall not be considered as having been intentionally dropped. Section 60. Interference. Interference is the act of an offensive player or team member that impedes, hinders, or confuses a defensive player attempting to execute a play. An umpire who impedes catcher's attempt to throw out a runner who is off the base. An umpire or runner being hit with a fair batted ball prior to passing an infielder, excluding the pitcher. And a spectator who reaches into the playing field and impedes a fielder playing ball or make contact with the ball that fielder as attempting play on. Section 61. Leaping. When we say leaping, it's the act of a pitcher that causes him to be airborne in his initial move and push from the pitcher's plate. The momentum built by the forward movement of the pitcher causes the entire body, including butt and pivot and stepping, non-pivot, foot to be in the air at the same time and moving towards home plate. The pitch is completed when the pitcher lands and with a continuous motion delivers the ball to the plate. The pivot foot may push off and or follow through with a continuous action. Leaping is a legal act. Next, section 62. Legal touch or tag. When we say legal touch or tag, it's the action of fielder in touching or tagging. A batter runner or runner who is not in contact with the base with the ball securely held in his hands or glove, the ball is not considered as having been securely held if it is juggled or dropped by the fielder after tagging the batter runner or runner, unless that player deliberately knocks the ball from the hands or glove of the fielder. The runner must be tagged with the hands or glove with which the ball is held rather. A base with the ball securely held in his hands or glove, the base may be touched or tagged with any part of the body to be legal touch or tag. Example, the fielder could touch or tag the base with a foot, with a hand, sit on the base, and etc. This would apply in any force out or appeal situation. Section 63. Legally caught ball. When we say legally caught ball, it is of course when a fielder catches batted, thrown, or pitch ball, provided it is not caught on a fielder's cap, helmet, mask, protector, pocket, or other part of his uniform. It must be caught and firmly held in the hands or glove. Section 64 is the line drive. When we say line drive, it is a flight that is batted sharply and directly into the playing field. Next, section 65. Line up and line up card. It is the list of players who are currently involved playing offensive and defensive positions in the game, including the flex player and in the substitute player, in the fielder player only. If being used, the lineup card will contain the last name, first name, position, and uniform number of the starting players in the lineup, and the last name, first name, and uniform number of available substitute, and the last name and the first name of the manager. Note. If an incorrect uniform number is listed on the lineup card, it may be corrected in the game continued with no penalty. If a player wearing an incorrect number violates any rule, the violation has precedence and must be enforced. If the player remains in the game following the violation, then correct the number and continue to play. Section 66 is the obstruction. When we say obstruction, it is the act of a defensive player or team member who hinders or prevents the batter from striking at or hitting a pitch ball. A fielder who impedes the progress of a runner or a batter runner who is legally running bases while not in the position of the ball, or not in the act of fielding a batted ball, or making a fake tag without the ball, or in position of the ball and who pushes the runner off a base, or in a position of the ball but not in the act making a play on the runner, impedes the progress of the runner while he is legally running the bases. Section 67 is offensive player only. A defensive player only is a player in the batting order other than flex or for whom is playing in the defense. The offensive player continues to play offense but not play defense. Section 68 is the offensive team. When you say offensive team, it is a team at bat. Yung mga naga-bat. Section 69, official equipment. When we say official equipment, it is considered to be any equipment, bats, gloves, helmets, and etc. in current use by the defensive or offensive team in the course of play. Defensive equipment, gloves, for example, left on the field by the team playing offense would not be considered as official equipment. Section 70, on-deck batter. On-deck batter is the offensive player whose name follows the name of the batter in the batting order. Section 71, on-deck circle. When we say on-deck circle, it is that area where the on-deck batter may warm up or takes practice swings while waiting his turn to enter the batter's box. Section 72, 1 meter or 3-foot line. It is the area the last half distance between home and first base where a batter runner must run to avoid being called out for interfering with the thrown ball from the home plate area or with the fielder's attempts to take such a throw while running to first base. Then Section 73, option play. Option play, which the offensive coach or the manager is given the choice of taking the enforcement of the illegal action of the result of the play. Such options include the catcher's obstruction, an illegal substitution, use an illegal glove, an illegal pitch, an illegal pitcher return to game and pitching, and lastly, a fatal batter in a 2-out walk or the substitute player only. Section 74, the outfield. When we say outfield, it is the portion of the field that is outside the diamond formed by the baselines or the area that is not normally covered by an infielder, and within the foul lines beyond first and third bases and boundaries of the grounds. Section 75. Overslide. When we say overslide, it is an act of an offensive player when, as a runner, he overslide a base he is attempting to reach. It is usually caused when his momentum him to lose contact with the base, which then causes him to be in jeopardy. The batter runner may overslide first base without being in jeopardy, provided he immediately returns to that base. Section 76. Overthrow. An overthrow is a play in which ball is thrown from one fielder to another, resulting in ball going beyond the boundary lines or of the playing field or becoming blocked. Section 77. Pass ball or flex player only. When we say pass ball, it is a pitch that should have been held or controlled by the catcher with ordinary effort. Section 78. The pitch. When we say pitch, it is the act performed by the pitcher in delivering to the batter. Section 80. Pivot foot. The pivot foot is that foot which with which the pitcher pushes off the pitcher's plate. Then, when placed in contact with the pitcher's plate by the pitcher, must remain in contact with the pitcher's plate until the pitch ball is released. Section 81. Play ball. When we say the term play ball, it is used by the plate umpire to indicate that play shall begin or resume when the pitcher holds the ball and within the pitcher's circle, or it is on or near the pitcher's plate. All defensive players except the catcher, who must be in the catcher's box, must be in fair territory to bat the ball in play. Section 82. The pregame meeting. The pregame meeting is a meeting held at the home plate area at a predetermined time between the umpires and the head coaches, managers, or team representatives of the respective teams. This meeting is held to confirm and approve the lineups of each team and distribute a copy to the position and review and special ground rules that may be applicable. Section 83. Protest. A protest, or separate from an appeal, is the action of a defensive or offensive team objecting to the interpretation or application of a playing rule by an umpire or the eligibility of a team roster member. Section 84. Quick return pitch. A quick return pitch is one made by the pitcher with the obvious attempt to catch a batter off balance. This would be before the batter takes place desired position in batter's box or while he is still off balance as a result of a previous pitch. Section 85. Re-entry. When we say re-entry, it is any of the starting players returning to the game after being legally or illegally substituted. Section 86. Removal from the game. It is an act of the umpire declaring a player ineligible for further participation in the game other than as a coach as a result of an infraction of the rules. Section 87. Replacement player. When we say replacement player, it is required to enter the game for a defined period of time to replace a player who must leave the game to attend to an injury that is causing bleeding. The replacement player may be listed substitute who has not yet been in the game, or a listed substitute who has been in the game but subsequently substituted from the game, from re-enter the game, from the game, or a starting player who is no longer in lineup and who is no longer eligible to re-enter the game. A replacement player is not classified as a substitute but must be reported to the umpire. Section 88. The runner. When we say runner, it is a player of the team at bat who has finished a turn bat, reached first base, and has not yet been put out. Section 89. The slap hit. When we say slap hit, it is struck with a controlled short jumping motion rather than with a full swing. The two most common types of slap hit are those in which the batter takes his stances as if to bunt, then either drives to the ball into the ground with a quick short swing or punch hits the ball over the infield and running steps within the batter's box towards the pitcher before making contact with the pitch with a quick short swing or punch hits the ball over the infield. Note that a slap hit is not considered to be a bunt. Section 90. Squeeze play. When we say squeeze play, it is a play in which offensive team with a runner on third base attempts to score that runner by means of the batter contacting the ball. Section 91. Starting players. When you say starting players, it is the players listed on the lineup given to the umpire-in-chief and or the plate number. Plate umpire rather. Section 92. Stealing. When you say stealing, the act of a runner attempting to advance during or after a pitch to the batter, stealing is not allowed in slow pitch. Section 93 is a strike zone. The strike zone is that space over any part of home plate between the batter's armpits and the top of his knees when he assumes his natural batting stance. The strike zone is that space over any part of home plate that is between the batter's back shoulder and his knees when he assumes his natural batting stance. Section 94 is a substitute. When we say a substitute, it is a player on the official lineup card who is a non-starting player who has not been in the game other than a replacement player. A starting player who has left on the game once and who may legally return to the lineup. Section 95. Tagging up. When we say tagging up, it is the action of runner returning to his base or remaining on his base before the legally advances on a batted fly ball that is first touched by a fielder. Not to be confused with the action of a fielder tagging a base or a runner. Section 96. Team member. When we say team member includes any person authorized to sit on team bench. Section 97. Temporary runner. When we say temporary runner, is a player who may run for the catcher of record from the preceding half inning who is now on base with 2 out. The use of the temporary runner is optional for the offensive coach. The temporary runner must be player who at the time of taking the option is scheduled to bat last. It is not on base at the time that The option is taken. Section 98 is the throw. When we say throw, it is act performed by a fielder when throwing the ball to another fielder. Section 99, the time. When we say time, it is a term used by the umpire to order the suspension of play during which ball is dead. Section 100, trap ball. A trap ball is a legally batted fly ball or line drive that hits the ground or a fence prior to being caught, or legally batted fly ball that is caught against a fence with a glove or bare hand, or a thrown ball to any base for a first out which is caught with a glove over the ball on the ground rather than the other ball, or a pitch ball that touches the ground on a strike prior to the catcher catching it. Section 101, the triple play. When we say triple play, it is a continuous action play by the defense on which the offensive players are put out. Section 102, turn at bat. When we say turn at bat, is when a player first enters the batter's box and continues until the batter is put out or becomes a batter runner. Section 103, wild pitch. When we say wild pitch, it is a pitch so high, so low, or so wide of a plate that the catcher cannot or does not stop and control it with ordinary effort. Section 104, wild throw. When we say wild throw, it is a play in which a ball is thrown from one fielder to another and cannot be caught or controlled, is not blocked, and remains in play. Then, Section 105, withdrawn player. When we say withdrawn player, it is a player forced to leave the game or line up in accordance with a replacement player ruling. And now, let's proceed to the Rule 2, which is the playing field. Section 1, the playing field. When we say playing field, it is an area within the which the ball may be legally played and fielded. Note, a ball is considered outside the playing field when it touches the ground or person on the ground or object outside the playing area. Shall have a clear and obstructed area within the minimum radius as set out in a distance table from home plate between the foul lines. Shall have an obstructed area outside the foul lines and between home plate and the backstop as shown in the backstop. Should have a warning track. If a warning track is used, it shall be an area within the playing field and adjacent to any permanent fence along the outfield and the side boundaries. A minimum of 3.65 meters or 12 feet to a maximum of 4.57 meters or 15 feet from the outfield and or side fences. Made of material or dirt gravel that is level with but different from the playing surface, the material must distinguish itself from the outfield surface and signals players when they are approaching the fence. Note that there is no requirement for facilities to cut a warning track in a permanent outfield surface, grass or otherwise. When temporary fencing is used, when a fast pitch game is played on a field designed primarily for slow pitch. Section 2, Ground or special rules. Ground or special rules establishing the limits of the playing field may be agreed upon by the leagues or opposing teams whenever backstops, fences, stands, vehicles, spectators, or other obstructions are within the prescribed area. Any obstruction and unfair territory less than minimum fence distance is set out in the distance table. It should be clearly marked for the umpire's information. If using a baseball field, the mound should be removed and the backstop set at the prescribed distance from home plate. Section 3. The official diamond shall have baselines and pitching distance as set out in the distance table. Note: if during the game the base distance or the pitching distance is found to be at wrong distance, correct the error at the start of the next full inning and continue playing the game. Section 4. Diamond layout. When it says diamond layout, it refers to the drawing showing dimensions of sample diamond and a diamond. A detailed instruction to lay out diamond with 18.29 meters or 60 feet baselines and a 14.02, 46 or 46 feet pitching distance can be found in pitching distance. And the dimensions for the following are contained. The 1 meter or 3 feet line is drawn parallel from the baseline starting at the point halfway between home plate and first base. The batter's index circle is placed and adjacent to the end of player's bench or the dugout area closest to home plate. The batter's backs are located on each side of home plate. The lines are considered as being within the batter's backs. The catcher's back shall be located to the rear of the batter's boxes. Each coach backs is parallel to the first and third base lines extended from the bases toward home plate. The home plate shall be made of rubber and shall be a 5-sided figure. The sides shall be parallel to the inside lines of the batter's backs. The pitcher's plate shall be of rubber. The top of the pitcher's plate shall be level with the ground, and the front line of the pitcher's plate shall be the distance from the back of point of home plate as set out in the distance table. The pitcher's plate shall have a circle drawn from the pitcher's plate as set out and as set out. Note that the lines that define an area are part of that area. Next is the bases. The bases other than home plate shall be the dimensions set out and shall be made of canvas and other suitable material. The bases should be securely fastened and positioned. The double base is approved for use at first. This base shall be of the dimensions and made of canvas or other suitable material. Half base is secured in fair territory and half base of a different solid contrasting color is secured in foul territory. Note that the following rules apply to the double base is a batted ball hitting the fair portion is declared fair and batted ball hitting the foul portion only is declared foul. If a play is made at first base on any batted ball or the batter runs or a drop third strike and the batter runner touches only the fair portion, and if the defense appeals prior to the batter runner returning to the fair portion of first base, the batter runner is out. Next is the defensive player must use only the fair portion of the base of all times. And in its exception, on any level ball play made from first base foul territory, the bottom runner and the defensive player may use either base. When the defensive player uses the foul portion of the double base, the bottom runner can run in fair territory, and if hit by a throw from the foul side of the first base, it would not be an interference. If intentional interference is ruled, the bottom runner would be out. After overrunning the base, the batter runner must return to the fair portion. On balls hit to the outfield when there is no play being made at the double base, the batter runner may touch either portion of the base. When tugging up on a fly ball, the fair portion must be used. On an attempt pick-up play, flex player only, the runner must return to the fair portion. Once a runner returns to the fair portion, should he stand on the foul portion only, and it is considered not in contact with the base, and the runner shall be called out. It should be called out if he is tagged with a ball or he stands on the foul portion of the base while the pitcher has possession of the ball within the pitcher's circle. Next, let's proceed to Rule 3, which is the equipment. Section 1 is the official bat. When we say the official bat, it shall be one-piece construction, multi-piece permanently assembled, or two-piece interchangeable construction. If the bat is designed with interchangeable components, it must meet the following criteria. Matting components must have a unique looking key to prevent uncertified equipment combinations in the field. All component combinations must meet the same standards as if it were a one-piece bat when combined, or a portion of one-piece bat if separated. It shall be made of one piece of hardwood or formed from a block of wood consisting of two or more pieces of wood banded together with an adhesive in such a way that the grain direction of all pieces is parallel to the length of the bat. It shall be metal, bamboo, plastic, graphite, carbon, magnesium, fiberglass, ceramic, or any other composite material approved by the ISF or Equipment Standards Commission. It can be laminated but must contain only wood or adhesive and have a clear finish. And next, it can be laminated. It shall be round and shall be smooth. Shall not be more than 86.4 meters or 34 inches long, nor exceed 1,077 grams or 38 ounces in weight. It shall not be more than 5.7 centimeters or 2 1/4 inches in diameter at its largest part. A tolerance of 0.80 millimeter or 1/32 inches is permitted to allow for expansion. It shall not have exposed rivets, pins, rough or sharp edges, or any form of exterior fastener that would present a hazard to the metal, but also be free of burrs and cracks. If metal shall not have a wooden handle, it shall have a safety grip of cork tape or no smooth plastic tape or composition material. The safety grip shall not be less than 25.4 centimeter or 10 inches long and shall not extend more than 38.1 centimeter or 15 inches from the small end of the bat. Resin, point tar, or spray substances placed on the safety grip to enhance the grip are permissible on the grip only. Next, if metal and not made of one-piece construction with the barrel enclosed, shall have a rubber or vinyl plastic or other material insert approved by ISF or Equipment Standards Commission, firmly secured at the large end of the bat. It shall have a safety knob of a minimum of 0.6 cm or 1/4 inches protruding at a 90-degree angle from the handle. The safety knob may be molded, lutted, welded, or permanently fastened. It shall be marked by the manufacturer in a prominent manner so as to be easily visible. Official ISF approved softball or other notification as may be selected and approved by the ISF Equipment Standards Commission. If the approval notice cannot be reached to wear on the bat, the bat may still be permitted in play if it is in compliance with ISF rules in all other respects, in that compliance is determinable with reasonable certainty. The weight distribution of weight or length of the bat must be permanently fixed at the time of manufacture and may not be altered in any way thereafter except as otherwise specifically provided in Rule 3, Section 1. And lastly, the official bat shall not be an altered bat. The weight distribution of weight and length of the bat as well as the other characteristics of the bat must be permanently fixed at the time of manufacture and may not be altered in any way thereafter except as otherwise specifically provided in Rule 3, Section 1 or a specification approved by the ISF or Equipment Standards Commission. Section 2. Warm-up bats. When we say warm-up bats, it must be one-piece construction. It shall be comply with the safety grip and safety knob requirements of the official bat. It must be marked warm-up in 3.2 cm or 1 1/4 inches letters on the barrel end. The barrel end must exist of 5.7 cm or 2 1/4 inches. Section 3 or the official softball. It shall be a regular smooth seam concealed stitch or flat surface ball. Shall have a center core made of either number 1 quality long fiber kapok or a mixture of cork and a rubber of polyurethane and mixture or other materials approved by the ISF Equipment Standards Commission. It may be hand or machine wound with a fine quality twisted yarn and covered with latex or rubber cement. It shall have a cover with cemented to the ball by application of cement to the underside of the cover and 7 with wax thread of cotton and linen. In co-ed slow pitch play, male batters will be pitched with a 12 ball and female batters with 11 ball. Effect 2 grams. If the incorrect ball is used, the offense will have the option to accept the result of the play or request a repitch using correct ball at the same ball and strike count. Adult men's slow pitch and male players in adult co-ed slow pitch will use the 30 and 5 centimeters and 12 inches ball with either COR .47 and under with 375 pounds compression of COR .52 with 300 pounds compression. Section 4. Gloves and mitts. Any player may wear a glove, but only the catcher and first baseman may use mitts worn by a first baseman or other device between the thumb and body of the glove or mitt worn by a first baseman or catcher or glove worn by any fielder shall be more than 12.7 centimeter or 5 inches in length. The pitcher's glove may be any combination of colors, provided none of the colors, including the lacing, are the color of the ball. Gloves worn by any player other than the pitcher may be any combination of colors. Gloves with white, gray, or yellow optic circles on the outside, giving the appearance of a ball, are illegal for all players. Section 5 is the shoes. All team members must wear shoes. A shoe shall be considered official if it is made with either canvas or leather athers or similar materials and is fully enclosed. The soles may be either smooth or have softened hard rubber cleats. Ordinary metal sole and heel plates may be used if the spikes on the plates do not extend more than 1.9 centimeter or 3/4 inches from the sole or heel of the shoe. Shoes with rounded metal spikes are illegal. No hard plastic or nylon or polyurethane spikes similar to a metal sole and heel plate are allowed in any division at any level of play. Section 6. Protective equipment. First is mask. All catchers must wear masks, truth protector, and helmet. Next, mask. Youth catchers must wear masks with helmet. Most are recommended in adult slow pitch. Let's see. Face mask. Any defensive or offensive player can wear an approved plastic face mask guard or face mask guards that are cracked or deformed or if padding has deteriorated or is missing are prohibited from use and must be removed from the game. Next is the body protectors. All catchers in fast pitch adult and youth must wear a body protector. Female catchers may wear a body protector in slow pitch. And next is the shin guards. Adult and youth catchers must wear shin guards while on the defense that will offer protection to the kneecap. Next is the helmets. Any helmets that are broken, cracked, dented, or altered are prohibited and must be removed from the game. And next is the protective leg arm guards may be worn by the batter and the batter runner. Next, Section 7, equipment on playing field. Equipment that is not part of the official equipment shall not be left lying on the playing field in either fair or foul territory, because its effect is the ball is dead if it contacts equipment that is not part of the official equipment. Section 8, uniform. When we say uniform, all players on a team shall wear uniform alike in color, trim, and style. Reference to the coach's uniform is found under Rule 4 in Section 1B. And the uniform in softball is the cups. Ball cups must be alike and are mandatory for all male players and must be worn properly. Cups, visors, and headbands are optional for female players, but can be mixed if more than one type is worn. They all must be of the same color. Of each of the same type must be of the same color and style. Plastic or hard visors are not allowed. Next is the undershirts. Players may wear a uniform colored undershirt or it may be white. It is not mandatory that all players wear an undershirt. If one player wears one but those that are worn must be alike, no player may wear bragg, frayed or slit sleeves on exposed undershirts. Next is pants or sliding pants. All player pants shall be either all long or all short in style. Players may wear a uniform solid color pair of sliding pants if it is not mandatory that all players wear sliding pants, but if more than one player wears them, they must be alike in color and style except temporary snap-on or velcro sliding pads. No players may wear rag, frayed, and slit legs on exposed sliding pants. And then, numbers. An aerobic number of contrasting color at least 15.2 cm, 16 inches high must be worn on the back of all uniform shirts. No manager, coach, or player in the same team may wear identical numbers, number 1, 2, 0, 1, or example of identical numbers. Only whole numbers 0, 1 to 99 shall be used. Players' numbers will not be permitted to play. Next is the names. Individual names may be worn above the numbers on the back of all uniform shirts. And next is the cast. Cast or plaster, metal, or other hard substances is a final form, may not be worn in a game. And lastly is the distracting adornments. No exposed items including jewelry judged by the umpire to be distracting to opposing players may be worn or displayed. The umpire shall require the item to remove or covered medical alert. Bracelets and or necklace, if them distracting, shall be required to be taped to the body in such a manner that the medical alert information is visible. Section 9. All equipment. Notwithstanding the foregoing, the ISF reserves the right to withhold or withdraw approval of any equipment which is in the ISF sole determination, significantly changes the character of the game, affects the safety of participants or spectators, or renders players' performance more a product of his equipment rather than his individual skill. And now let's proceed to Rule 4, which is the coaches, players, and substitutes. Section 1. Coaches. Coaches, the head coach is responsible for assigning the lineup card. Coaches must be nearly attired, including the wearing of suitable footwear or dressed in team uniform in accordance with the color code of the team. If a coach wears a cap, it must be approved headgear. Caps are mandatory for male coaches. An offensive team coach or base coach is an eligible member of the team, a bat who takes his play on the field within the coach box. And the two coaches are allowed to give words of assistance and direction to the members of their team while at bat. One shall be stationed near first base and one near third base, and they are required to remain with both feet within the confines of their respective coach box. And a base coach may address only his own team members, and one coach can have in his position in the coach box a scorebook, pen, or pencil, and an indicator, all of which shall be used for scorekeeping or record. And a defensive team coach manager is an eligible member of the team in the field, who may be either a non-playing coach who remains in the dugout or a playing coach who takes his place on the field. This coach may give direction and assistance to his team while they are playing defense. Coaches may not use language that will reflect negatively upon players umpires or spectators. No communication equipment is allowed between the coaches in the field, the coaches in the dugout, the coaches and the 80 player or the spectator area in the field, including the dugout, coaches, and players. Section 2. Line-up cards and rosters. Official lineup cards are to be completed and submitted to the official scorer and the plate umpire at the start of the game. The plate umpire returns the card for the duration of the game. A player's name shall not be on the starting lineup unless the player is present in the team area and in uniform. All available players should be listed in the designated place by their last name, first name, and uniform number. Eligible roster members may be added to be available substitute list at any time during the game. The name of the head coach manager must be listed on the lineup card. Then male rosters shall include only male players. Roster shall include only female players. Section 3. Players. A team shall consist of players in following positions. The fast pitch, 9 players, pitcher, catcher, first baseman, second baseman, third baseman, shortstop, left fielder, center fielder, and right fielder. Fast pitch with a designated player, 10 players, same as fast pitch, plus that's a designated player. Slow pitch, 10 players, pitcher, catcher, first baseman, second baseman, third baseman, shortstop, left fielder, left center fielder, and the right fielder and the right center fielder. Slow pitch with an extra player, even 11 players, same as slow pitch plus who bats in the lineup. In a team must have the required number of eligible players present in the team area to start or continue a game. Section 4. Starting players. A starting player shall be official when the lineup card is inspected and approved by the plate number and team representative in the pre-game meeting. The names may be entered on the official lineup card in advance of this meeting. However, in this case, injury or illness changes may be made at the pre-game meeting with the umpires. A listed substitute may take the place of a starting player whose name is in his team's starting lineup. He would then be considered the starting player. The starting player so changed at the meeting could enter the game as a substitute at any time later in the game. Section 5 is a designated player. When we say the designated player, it is referred to as be used as a batter for any defensive player, provided it is made known prior to the start of the game and his name is entered to the lineup sheet as one of the 9 hitters in the batting order. Section 6. Extra player. When we say extra player, it is referred to as an optional, but if one is used, it must be made known prior to the start of the game and the player's name listed on the lineup card as one of the 11 hitters on the batting order. Section 7. The re-entry. Any of the starting players may be substituted and re-enter once, provided such players occupy the same batting position whenever they are in the lineup. Section 8. Substitute or the illegal player. When we say the substitute, it may take the place of a player whose name is in his team's lineup. Um, the following relations govern player substitutes. The coach or team representative of a team making the substitution shall immediately notify the plate umpire at the time that substitute enters. The plate umpire shall report the change to the scorer. A substitute is not officially in the game until a pitch has been thrown or a play made. Section 9. Disputed calls. When we say disputed calls, it is any judgment decision by an umpire um, by an umpire will constitute a team warning or any warning. Any repeat offense shall result in the ejection of the team member. Section 10. Dugout conduct. Coaches, players, substitutes, or other bench personnel shall not be outside the designated dugout area except when the rules allow when considered justified by the umpire. Section 11. Replacement player. When we say replacement player, it is any player bleeding during the game. That player must be withdrawn from the game if the bleeding cannot be stopped within a reasonable length of time, or his uniform becomes covered with blood. The withdrawn player shall not return to the game until all becomes um, ceases, the injury cleaned and covered, and if necessary, his uniform replaced. Section 12. Temporary runner. When we say temporary runner, it is illegal for a catcher or record from the previous half inning who is on base with 2 out. The following provisions apply. It is optional for the offensive team manager. The temporary runner may be used anytime after the second out occurred, and is the player scheduled to bat last and who is not on base at the time the option is taken. Section 13. Violations and penalties. Team members shall not make disparaging or insulting remarks to or about opposing players, officials, or spectators, commit other acts that could be considered unsportsmanlike conduct. The penalty for violations by team members shall be: for a first offense, the offender may be warned; for a second offense, or if a first offense is considered serious enough by the umpire, the offender is ejected. And that would be all about the Rule 1 and Rule 4. Thank you.